Let's do it. Let's go. Let's hit the road. Yeah. Wired in, they're screwed in. Let's see. So fingers crossed, next time you see me, I'm not like... Bonjour and welcome back to the channel. And today we are back working on the MK2 GOLF GT. And as you can see, we have movement. We have movement, which Edith is very pleased about, because finally we do have a respectable back garden. So following on from the last episode, which we were finishing off the engine rebuild. Now, for those of you who are new to the channel, please do follow the build from the start. I shall try and leave the link just up there. But we have had movement, which is pretty cool now again to see both the, obviously, father and son reunited once again. And so far the engine since the rebuild has been, yeah, running pretty good. Let's just do a quick little cold start then, shall we? All right. Okay, so I have fitted two new sensors. One is the oil pressure sensor, as I noticed I was getting a flashing light. Thought it was perhaps due to a DUF sensor. It was, so changing that out, got rid of the red flashing light. And also the knock sensor, which is this little sensor down here that runs and connects to this blue plug here. Now, since connecting that as well, once the engine is getting up to temperature, it seems to be running pretty good. So that is all great news. But we are at a time where I say it's running pretty good, and I think we're good to hit the road. I have fitted the, I have finally got round to fitting the indicators, by the way. They're all in and working. Number plates are back on. Let's do it. Let's go. Let's hit the road. Yeah.
On that note, game on! Game on!
And I have ordered a new one of these, that's arm clip things, because that's really annoying. Okay, so are we ready for post-engine rebuild maiden voyage? I think so. Let's go. Right. Good. Yeah, no flashing lights. A nice steady tick over actually. I'm going to open the window. Electric, by the way, luxury. No power steering though in this car. That is good for my wimpy spaghetti arms. Coming through. Well, first 100 yards down the road, we're looking okay. All gauges are working, temperature slowly rising. Okay, we're up to temperature and gauges are looking good. First little run down the road, it's feeling pretty good. I'm getting a little bit of a down blip when I let off the throttle, but I think perhaps that's just again a bit of fine tuning. It seems to drop quite low, the revs sort of round about sort of 400 to 500 RPM, which is perhaps a bit too low, so I don't want it, it's not stalling. But yeah, I definitely need to perhaps do a little bit of idle tuning when we get home. Do a bit of boring driving for the minute and just let the, obviously since the rebuild, let the engine roll and turn over before I start to push it a bit. Okay, so I've done a few just trundling runs, everything good. Like I said, temperature wise, still bang on. Let's see if we can actually get a temperature, oil temperature reading. 90, bang on 90. That's a good sign. I'm really impressed that this sort of onboard computer is still working and I've got no display issues. Fingers crossed. Now then, we can let's see if we've brought back a bit more of the GTI-ness to this MK2, because before it was really lacking any power or any sort of sporting prowess. So let's be a bit braver, shall we? Easy does it. So much more pull. The engine had so little pull before, but now big improvements since the engine rebuild. Really pleased. Just getting up to about 4,000 revs. I'm not pushing it too far. Zero smoke. That's great. Obviously I'm a little bit nervous after the engine rebuild. It's a kind of a nervous smile, but the smile is wanting to come. Here we go. Yes. Making all the right noises. Brilliant. Okay, so as far as kind of maiden voyages go, I'd say it was quite successful. Definitely feeling the GTI-ness returning back to this Mark II Golf. Which is what it was all about. That was the purpose of the engine rebuild, and definitely, even without, like I say, the fine tune-up, good results. But yeah, once I got back, I did adjust the little idler valve to see if I can get the revs going up a little bit further. Also noticed a bit of a strange sound coming from the timing belt, which could be due to two things. Either I've tensioned it too much, or I do need to change the tensioner pulley. So I will get a tensioner pulley on order, but for now I've just slackened it off. So hopefully for our second voyage we might see, hopefully eliminate that issue. The only bit of bad news was that fifth gear that seemed quite elusive once the engine and gearbox had warmed up. Fifth, where are you? There we go. Now I was going to change the transmission fluid, and so hopefully by doing that we should solve that problem. Fingers crossed. I've got a good idea for our second maiden voyage. Thought I'd take the opportunity to fill in these gaps. Obviously there were 6x9s there before, and that's exactly what I'm going to put back in there. So let's fire up and get down the road. See what we can find. Slight change of plan then. Yeah, I figured I'd best go in the Mark 7 Golf, because if the transmission fluid is really low, then I don't want to be driving that car any more than I have to. So let's go on a mission, find some 6x9s and some transmission fluid. Okay, all good. We have got the transmission fluid, 75W90 synthetic. Pretty cheap actually, 13 euros. Yeah, that'll do. To the 6x9 shop. Morning, welcome to, well, it's a Monday morning, and it's going to be a beautiful morning. Right, okay, so big catch up for what's happened over the weekend. So where did we leave off? Oh yeah, buying 6x9s. That didn't go too well. No, to be honest, after looking in the shop, they had only one set of 6x9s. They were overpriced, they weren't on sale, and they were pretty garish and red, and that's not what I'm after. So like everyone does when you can't find something in the shop, what do? You just buy it on Amazon. So that's what I did. They should arrive today, Monday. Okay, so quick catch up on the Mark II, because I have been tinkering. Now I was due to do this kind of video yesterday, but my neighbour told me there was a classic car exposition, and so I went to that. And Mark I Golf GTI, unbelievable example. Check this thing out. I love these cars. Another 205 GTI. Let me just chow this down. What? So that's going to be another video. But that was good. It was really good. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. And yeah, while the girls were busy playing in the pool, I did a little bit of tinkering. So let me fill you in on what I've been up to. Okay, so in here is actually the old transmission fluid already emptied out. Now, well, first of all, just jack the car up, take the wheel off. Obviously doing it safely with jacks down, of course. And first port of call was just wanted to crack off the fill-up plug. Fill-up plug? I haven't had a coffee yet. Perhaps I should have one. You don't want to drain it and then realise that you've got an issue with the fill-up plug. Then I just cracked open the drain plug, and luckily my neighbour Elvie had what I needed, which was it's a 17mm Allen key, but effectively if you're looking at a socket set, I believe they call it an M17 socket. But this did the job. But yeah, cracked them open, drained it out into, well, one of these little baking trays. And the reason I did that is I wanted to inspect this oil, because worst case scenario is after draining the oil would be to find obviously that there's any metal filings or any bits of gear or anything like that, any teeth. I don't know what to find. But really good news was that there was absolutely no metal filings, no nothing. A tiny bit of grit, perhaps a bit of dirt. And the other good news was the fact that, which is kind of what I was hoping for, this should be 2 litres. It should be 2 litre capacity in there, and there was only, I'm going to say, an estimate of 1.2, so 800 millilitres of transmission fluid was missing. So effectively that could be an issue. That could be why once the gearbox is getting up to temperature, there isn't enough lubrication in it, hence why 5th gear becomes a little bit astray. So the drain plug is now back in. Now I did seal it up with this Loctite, so it's called 577. It was listed as a new product some months ago. I've been asked about this. I've used it on sort of air threads and water threads, and now, well, the threads for the transmission box, and it does a good job. So Loctite 577, go get you some. Now then, let's grab the bottle of fluid that I've got and think about how we're going to get it in. Wang it in, whip it off, wang it in. Those technical terms make me look like a serious mechanic, don't you think? Okay, so there's a little holy pluggy in question, and hopefully you can see that. Now the spec is 2 litres, which is handy because this is obviously 2 litres, and but this doesn't look like it's one of those. It hasn't got, no, it's now some of these oils come in these really practical packets that you can just sort of squeeze it in the hole, but not this one. So I'm gonna have to come up with a genius way of getting this in that hole. I'd be bugged. Okay, well I found this. Well, this should be okay. It's probably going to take a little bit of time, but yeah, just wang it in there and pump it away. Do it. Okay, so good news is it's all in there. I had to jack it up quite high in the end to make sure it stopped. It didn't dribble, but 99% of it is in, and yeah, put the plug back, tightened in. I'm just going to leave it now, make sure that sealant dries, and yeah, get the wheel back on. Okay then, so we are good. Car is back on the ground, transmission fluid change. Time then for its second, I guess, maiden voyage. And it's an important one because I have my second Pfizer jab, got my papers, and yeah, hopefully we'll get there fine. It'll be okay. Let's go. Boom. Okay, so it's actually where I need to go is Shandy, which is about a 15-minute drive, 15-20 minutes. So plenty of time for things to go wrong, and plenty of time to see if yeah, we have any issues with that 5th gear again. So I'm going to hit the road. I'll get back to you in about 10 minutes when hopefully everything's warmed up. But yeah, let's third time lucky. 4th. Good. A little bit of convincing, I'm not going to lie. Still needs a little bit of convincing. So, does that mean we might need to invest in one of these? Well, it might be worth investing in anyway, one of these. And that is basically all the linkage. That's just a kit to make all the changes super slick again, nice and tight. Is that something that's worth doing? Obviously 5th is back, but could it be any better? Is it worth doing? I don't know. Anyway, let's just make sure I'm going in the right direction. good news then. Now, my brother did have quite a strange reaction to this second jab. So fingers crossed, next time you see me, I'm not like... Voila! Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold your horses. That is an Amazon box. Whoa! Yeah! Whoosh! 400 watts of Pioneer 6x9 power. Let's wang him in. Well, as obviously it has the cables all plumbed in, this should be pretty straightforward. So yeah, let's do a little. Okay, so all a bit makeshift, admittedly, for the minute, but they are wired in, they're screwed in. Let's see. Bam, man, yeah! We're out. Yeah.
Yeah.